Number 3. This actually just happened to me this morning. So to give a little backstory, my older sister, her son, and I were heading to a party a few towns over. But first, my sister had to pick up a bag of ice at the store. There is a Walgreens right up the road from my sister's apartment, so she decided to go there. We pulled into the parking lot, and my nephew says he wants to stay in the car, which means I'm staying in there with him. So my sister proceeds to take her keys and purse and head into the store. Since it's the summer and it's Georgia, it started getting really stuffy inside the car, and my sister didn't leave the windows open, so I opened the door. Now my nephew had unbuckled himself from his car seat, and he stood up and put his head between the passenger seat and the driver's seat. But since my sister was going to be back soon, I closed the door and turned around to tell him to sit back down. When I do, I see this man, no older than 30, with a bald head and a beard, and covered in tattoos, standing behind my sister's car. He gestured something to me, and I didn't know what he was doing, so I gave him a weird look. I thought he would just walk away, but no, he walks over to the driver's side door, opens it up and sits down, and starts looking around. He had his hand at the ignition, as if there were keys there. I didn't even stop to think. I didn't yell, but I said in a shaky voice, "You need to get out of my car." He responded with, "What?" So I said again, "You need to get out of my car right now." He then said to me, "Oh, I thought you told me to come in." So he got out of the car and closed the door. I then immediately locked all the doors. My nephew was just still sitting in his seat, quietly, where I was almost crying. I was trying to suppress an anxiety attack, but my heart was practically beating out of my chest. I then hear the doors unlock, and I turned around to see my sister walking back to the car. She threw the bag of ice in the back and came around and got into the car. When she closed the door, I quickly locked the doors again. I kept looking around, and I noticed that the guy was still walking around the parking lot. My sister said that he looked really sketchy and that he was talking to himself when she walked into the store. When she was done saying that, I looked at her and said, "He got into the car." My sister turned and looked at me really quickly and started freaking out and asking me all these questions. I told her what happened, and she said that she was going to call the cops. She pulled out her phone and started dialing. We kept looking around the parking lot because he was still there, as dispatch was taking forever to answer. The tattooed guy makes a beeline for our car. I saw him coming. Again, I made sure the doors were locked as he made it to the car and started pulling on the handle of the door behind the driver's seat. My sister yelled at him to get the hell away from her car, but he didn't stop, so she banged on her window and screamed at him again. He then gave my sister a weird and confused look and then took off running down the road. We finally got a hold of the police, and they said they were sending a cop to our location. But we weren't going to sit in that parking space any longer, so we moved to the other side of the store. When the cop finally came, both me and my sister gave a statement. He said that they had 2 other officers looking for him. No matter how hard I try, I can't get this out of my head. I'm not staying alone in the car ever again, and I always make sure the doors are locked no matter what. I know you may think I'm stupid for not locking the doors, but we were in a populated parking lot, and I honestly didn't think anyone would try something that stupid. Number 2. This story didn't happen to me. It happened to my mom. I saw a video called Creepy College Stalker Stories, and the title immediately caused me to remember something that my mom had once told me. I was a lot younger at the time, maybe about 12 or 13, so I didn't think much of it. My mother is now 55 years old, and I'm currently 17. Now that I think about it, her story is a lot creepier than I first thought. Let me start off by saying that at the time of the story, my mother was going to college at Texas Tech and was pursuing a law degree. One night my mom was walking back from her tennis practice, thinking that she was all alone, There was no one else out on the streets, and the streetlights were on. At one point, she started to feel very uneasy, and decided to take a glance behind her. What she saw made her become very weary. A tall, large man was walking behind her a few meters away. I recall her mentioning that it wasn't strange to see another young adult walking around at night, but this person didn't seem very young. Judging by this man, she estimated that he was around maybe 30 to 50 years old, and definitely was not a college professor since most of them aren't out this time of night. To double check to see if this was a normal pedestrian and not some creeper, my mother decided to pick up the pace. She was now speed walking down the street. A loud sound of shoes hitting the ground caused my mother to turn around and see the tall man was now sprinting towards her. She then booked it. Due to her being very athletic, she managed to stay a good 5 to 7 meters ahead of this guy. He too was quite fast. She took a sharp turn around the corner and ran to her apartment building. Her apartment was on the ground floor. She quickly unlocked the door, runs inside, and locks it. My mom didn't turn the light on so the man wouldn't think anyone was in there. Next to the door are 2 large windows with see-through curtains. Peeking through the window, she saw the man approaching her apartment. Thinking quickly, my mom crouched to the floor and shuffled next to the wall, laying there in case he would look in. And that's exactly what he did. Apparently, a shadow could be seen through the curtains as he glanced inside. The guy stayed there for what seemed to be 20 to 30 minutes before backing away. A note was slipped under her door. My mom didn't get up until she knew for a fact that he was gone. Feeling relieved that he had left, my mother decided to see what was on the paper. The note read,
"A hard man is good to find."
Apparently the old creep had reversed the old saying, "A good man is hard to find." My mom went to the police the next day and filed a report. They took her statement and the note. They said that they would keep an eye out. I don't recall if they ever caught the guy or not. Number 1. At the time of this event, I was 11 years old. It was June 12th, 2011. My friend, I'll call her Sam, had a brother who was doing a recital at a church close to where we live. I'd like to say that I'm in no way religious. So while we were sitting there at the recital, Sam noticed a man near the back of the church. He looked really creepy and was sitting near the girls' bathroom. I, however, didn't really notice him, and I didn't think much of it. After a while, I had to go to the bathroom, so Sam told her mom and the 3 of us went to the bathroom. We came back and sat down. After a little while, Sam now had to use the restroom again. So we both got up and went to the bathroom without telling her mom this time. So it was just Sam and I. The bathroom was a small 2-stall bathroom that had 1 sink. There was a small stall and a bigger stall for the handicapped. Sam went to the small stall while I stood outside. A little bit after we entered the bathroom, the creepy man came in. Now I noticed him, obviously. He was short and smelled like cigarettes and alcohol, and was just gross looking. He leaned over the sink, and I'm not sure what he was doing. I just remember the smell. Once he was done, he went to the bigger stall and pointed at it, and mumbled something about having to go to the bathroom. I thought it was just a simple mistake, and he was just confused as to which bathroom he was in. But not even 2 seconds later, he came out of the stall quickly, putting his arms around me. Now this next part is kind of fuzzy, because my brain blocked most of it out. Once he put his arms around me, he started touching me inappropriately. I screamed an ear-piercing scream, and he tried to cover my mouth. But his hand was sort of in a cup shape, so it didn't really do anything to stop it. I guess I kicked the stall and cursed at him, but I really don't remember that part. I ended up in the stall that Sam was in, trying frantically to get my phone to turn on, because it was almost dead. With only a little bit of energy left, I was able to text my mom, saying that someone just tried to kidnap me. The creep eventually ran out of the church with 4 guys chasing after him. They eventually caught him. My mom and stepdad rushed there after the police were called, and I had to repeat what happened over and over again. I didn't really cry much because I was so shocked and I didn't really know what exactly happened. This other kid I knew from school named Tyler heard about what happened, and he went around and told a lot of people that he saw me with police outside the church. It was humiliating having to explain myself. The next day was our 5th grade graduation, and right after that ended, I had to tell the story yet again to a legal representative. It turns out this guy's name was William Harry Marble, and he was deemed mentally challenged. It took 2 years to get him ready for court, so in 7th grade, I finally went to court and testified against him. He pled not guilty, so I was going to have to go to court again. But then a couple of months later, he changed his plea to guilty, and he was sentenced to 8 years in prison. It's now 2016, and I still have problems using public bathrooms, and even my own bathroom at home. I always have to have the door locked.
There's always a reason to be afraid.